Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for February 8th. And this is Celebrity Big Brother, or Big Brother Celebrity, or BB Celeb, or CBB US, whatever you want to call it. I'm annoyed about all the names, to be frank. But I'm here to update you on everything that happens on the feeds, on the live feeds. They tell us all of the information about the Big Brother game. And I'm here to give you a daily update about everything that's happening. And joining me today is my wonderful partner in crime here, Brent Wolgamott. How you doing, Brent?
I'm doing great. Actually, you guys need to take note because this may be the only time you see me on a morning update for the entirety of Celebrity Big Brother. And by the way, this is what my hair looks like when I don't use a hair straightener. It's got a lot of bounce to it. It's like Diana Ross, Taran.
Okay. Yes. Only on the morning updates can you see the true state of people's hair, and
you're
mine is just yeah.
I've seen you are unshaven. I can see it on your face. So
there you go. I gotta use my Harry's razors. Only they're not sponsoring this one, so never mind.
Well, screw them. Who else?
Go to the Taran show. So we are here to talk about the feeds came on last night, and we were welcomed to a riveting game of charades. So that was fun.
Yes. Always fun when they know the live feeds are going to happen. I like it when Big Brother doesn't tell them, but I guess because they're celebs, they had to tell them. Because whenever this happens, there's always some group participation thing that everybody's got to be involved in, and it's really boring, and you don't get to hear any game talk until that breaks up. And that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the last time I remember them being aware of the feeds coming on was Big Brother 16, when we had people streaking around the house, and it was a bunch of nonsense. But yeah, so the feeds came on, and we were greeted with this game of charades. Brandi immediately, started with her controversial night, talking about.
Mm-hmm.
She had the word Jumanji, and she went for Jumanji, and people were talking about that for a bit.
It was a little bit off color because she was desperate to get this across, Jumanji, and she wanted to get the Jew part out. She looked at Marissa Jarrett Winokur and referenced her nose, which to Marissa's credit, she did say she was offended by, which I guess from a game perspective, you could say maybe that wasn't the best move, but from a human perspective, she was like, yeah, I was kind of offended by that. And of course, Ross was like, yeah, I didn't even see it. So, but other than that, Brandi has been giving me life on the live feeds. They gave her a lot of alcohol, Taran.
Yeah. I mean, according to everyone else, it's been fine up until this point. It's just been, as soon as the live feeds came on, things got a little crazy, and I think that did have to do with alcohol. But yes, one of the first things we see, people being offended and offending people already. So not the best sign in the world for these live feeds, but things happen. Another thing that's probably a little bit discouraging is that we were informed by the wonderful Vegas for sure on Reddit. They've been giving us some spoilers all along the way, and they let us know before the feeds came on that Metta World Peace has been trying to leave the house. And for the first time in Big Brother history, he pressed the emergency button. He was like, "Get me out of here!" And I think he's tried to quit like twice or so now. Yep. And so they have been working very hard to talk him into staying. Seems to be successful so far. He was still in the house when the feeds came on. He talked about I tried to quit, I tried to leave, but I understand that Big Brother's a fun and awesome show, and I've been acting like a child. Like they really brainwashed him somehow. So
yeah,
good on these. I wonder if this made me wonder. Like, do they have it in the contract? Like trained professional psychologists are allowed to persuade you to stay in the game, because I feel like that's what happened.
I don't know. Maybe there was something in his clause about him being liable for a certain amount of money if he just up and quits the game. I know that in other there's certain clauses in certain contracts about things like that. So maybe that's what they're using to get him to stay. It's so weird because he does seem to enjoy the people, and he enjoys the game, and he's really chill about everything. It's not like anything specifically is causing him to want to quit the game, other than the fact that he's trapped in a house and can't really go anywhere.
Yes. Frafa in the chat says he wants to peace out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's all about peace. In the Big Brother house, there's no peace in the Big Brother house. So
Yeah.
he
My
can't
favorite
find his
part was
peace.
when he was joking with Omarosa. By the way, they did ask her how to say her name. She said, "Thank you for asking. It is Omarosa." So I'm gonna say that from now on. She and him were talking. And he was like, "You know what? I'll jump over that wall. I can do it. I can jump over that wall." He's talking about the wall of the backyard, And they were like, "Oh yeah, that'd be fun." And then they realized he wasn't kidding. And she was like, "Oh no, honey, no, that's not a good idea. Like, please don't do that."
Well, I don't watch Big Brother Celebrity UK, but I believe I have heard that people have climbed over walls to escape that house before. So, I mean, it's not a precedent that I want the US version to follow, but it might be on the horizon here.
Yep, definitely a possibility with Metta.
Yes. We also learned that the veto we discussed last night, we thought that it was going to be used on Chuck so that Mark could go on the block. We thought maybe that wasn't the best idea to put somebody up and then not send them home. It seems like for whatever reason, they've decided against that. The veto has not been used and Chuck remains on the block next to James.
Yes, and James is not too happy about it. I have to say that James doesn't really realize the severity of the situation of what's happening. I think that he feels like he's just being picked on a little bit. I don't think he has any real understanding of the fact that him acting like a douche and him coming in second in that competition are the real factors at play here. That just seems totally lost on him at this point. And he's also, in an attempt to save himself, I'll just jump ahead real quick and I'm talking about James real quick. He's trying to talk game with people and talk about votes and talk about the game and who needs what. I can be a weapon for you, that sort of thing. Looking at Big Brother history, there are two main attractions that come to mind as far as people who were like dead in the water during week 1 and then ultimately were saved was Nicole in Big Brother 2 and Alyssa during Big Brother 15. I feel like Alyssa more than anything was used as a weapon for her MVP power. They were like, okay, no matter what happens, we still have her. So they were going to weaponize her. So maybe that is a possible tack for him. But the problem is he's against a guy in Chuck who doesn't talk game at all for the most part, or does a little bit, but it's very sly and it's very in a casual manner about it. And James just comes off as too schemy.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very bad situation for James to be in if he wants to save himself. There's basically no difference between him and Chuck. He is on good terms with Chuck. Chuck seems to be on the same side as James for whatever side that is, and Chuck is just a much more laid back, non-threatening person. He's not going to do as well in challenges. He's not as much of a personality. So there's almost nothing that James can do here, except for, convince people that I'm ready to jump wherever you want me to. But it's just there's not enough time in the game for him to really find the cracks and go to the right places and make people think that he is the invaluable key to their success. It just doesn't seem like it's likely to happen. Chuck is essentially doing what you would want to do to save yourself, and he's doing it unintentionally. Right. So,
and the worst part to me is that he needs 5 votes. It's because there are 8 people voting. So 5 votes when there are only 8 people voting. That's such a tough ask. If it was 7 people, then I feel like maybe maybe there's a way he can get to 4. But as it stands, boy, it looks tough.
Yes, Nick Towns in the chat says, well, that's the first time Chuck has ever been called non-threatening.
Yeah, somebody else in the chat said, I believe the word that you're looking for is douche, Brent. That was Stephanie who said that. And Stephanie, I hear you, but I've been using douche so much when it comes to James that I was looking for an alternative word.
Yeah, well, in regards to Chuck, I do feel like when you are that you're so physically intimidating, you have to, I'm sure you have to get used to or try really put out this perception that I am not a threatening person. Like you have to be very conscious of the look that you have, the vibe that you give off. Not only is he physically intimidating just aesthetically, but also probably one of the most intimidating people. He can beat you down more than almost anyone in the world. So when you have that persona, you've got to think you're used to trying to put people at ease. Like, guys, it's all right. Don't worry.
He has the perception. He has the perception of a broke down Chevy. He used to be really cool, like a muscle car, but it's been a few years, and you can just the way he moves. I mean, like he doesn't seem as intimidating as somebody from the UFC should be.
Well, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
So it does seem like James is in a lot of trouble. He did try to campaign. He talked to Ross and talked about Keisha and Shannon and how he thinks they're running the game. Probably because they're the two HOH people. We assume, or at least I assume, that Keisha has taken the HOH power from Shannon, not in any sort of contentious way, but I don't know how this twist worked. But she was up in the HOH room, so I'm kind of assuming that she is the new HOH, and that kind of makes sense why James is like, oh, Keisha and Shannon are running the game because they're the only two that have had power, and he thinks that if you have power 1 week, that means you're running the game. That's what I'm assuming.
But we don't know. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the problem too. We're not getting information that we need. And the other thing about the twist is I'm not sure I mean, if she, first of all, it's absolutely nonsensical for her to use it if she could have saved it for the next week. And I'm sure her alliance would not have let her use that if she could show. It must be a power that expires. That's all I can guess.
Well, here's the theory, right? So potentially if she had this power and they knew that if Shannon was dethroned as HOH, that she would have the chance to play in the next HOH competition. They may have come together as an alliance and said, you know what, Shannon probably has a better chance of winning the next competition. Why don't you take over for now, let Shannon compete next week, and we'll have a better collective shot at winning power again.
This just sounds so dumb, though, because then if somebody else, Chuck wins power next week, you can just overthrow him with the powers. Taran?
You think maybe they could have saved it for later weeks?
I mean, okay, yes, I agree. If you could save it, that's obviously what I would do. But the fact of the matter is, we think she did use it, and because of that, Shannon is going to be able to compete next week. Having said that, Shannon is almost paranoid about the fact that I realize we're jumping around a little bit here, but that's how it goes on these shows. She's a little paranoid, and she's like, well, our alliance has to win. And it sounds like she's talking about other people, not herself. So I'm like, well, you get to compete if you were dethroned, right? So a little bit hazy on what's happening as far as the rules in the HOH and the dethroned HOH or the recast HOH goes. And
I mean, if Shannon is not able to compete, then that's definitely no good. I don't know why they would have used it.
Yeah. I was going to say that my recasting of you evidently did not work. So.
Oh, of course not. No power can get rid of me. Rob Sesternino in the chat says, I bet she did it to get a letter from home.
Oh my God, please.
At which point somebody was like, it's been like a week? And Rob, she has a 1-year-old. I wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, please. Oh, if that's seriously the reason, then I need a new job. I mean, that's just crazy. Because I was watching. You know what I was watching last night? I was watching Ika shreds the letters, and I was watching all those people inside the house just going bananas over the fact that they weren't going to get a letter. Boo hoo! And it was just crazy. People acted crazy. So maybe Rob's onto something. The fact that she might actually use this power just to get a letter.
Yeah. It's something else that amused me was we'll get to Brandi. I feel like that was the highlight of the night. But one of the things that Keisha was using as an example of how drunk Brandi was she was like, oh, she's been calling me Rudy Huxtable. She's so drunk that she's even isn't that crazy? Oh, they're all calling you.
Oh dear. Yeah. They're there. Bless your heart.
Anyway, back to James. He's campaigning to Ross. He's saying Shannon and Keisha, they're running the game. I need to turn them against each other. I need to get something going. I need to turn people against them. Something needs to happen. I need to go to them individually, see what's going on. He's talking to Ross. He's like, you're not going to tell anyone about this, right? And Ross is like, what? It would not behoove me to tell anyone about your secrets. And
James is like, oh, you're right. And he thinks of a reason why it would not behoove Ross to tell other people. And of course, as I'm sure you're alluding to, Taran, Ross did immediately go back to Shannon and Keisha to let them know exactly what was going to be happening with James and his pitch to them. And Ross has instructed James to promise them the moon and the stars and try to stick to his word as much as possible, which I don't think is bad advice, except for the fact that the person you're talking to you think you have their vote, you're probably not going to get their vote. So I feel like he's still barking up the wrong tree.
Yes, Ross is doing his best Andy Herron impression. Rob in the chat says he is Varys, the Varys of Celebrity Big Brother from Game of Thrones, which not a bad comparison. You know what? I guess Andy Herron kind of would have been the Varys. Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. I like that comparison.
I was just going to ask really quickly. Overall, night one, how do you like my pick of Ross now?
It's good. I always liked it. Okay. Ross is one of the top picks here.
I was feeling uneasy after that we saw the little sneak peeks.
Right.
But I'm feeling better now because I feel like that Shannon just, wow, like she just had a target that was small and she just said, she was like Dr. Will. She's like, I'm going to make my target so big that you can't miss it.
Yeah, no. Shannon is really all over the place here. She's being pointed out by James as one of the people who's running the show. Surprisingly, I was expecting James to say Shannon and Omarosa, but Omarosa seems to be in the shadows for the most part, which again surprises me. Shannon winning too many competitions, being a little too out there. So we'll have to see where that ends up. So as we were talking about, James thinks he has 3 votes and he only needs 2 more. He thinks he has Mark, Metta, and Ross. He thinks Metta is a bit of a wild card, so he's not sure about that vote. I assume that he's correct in assuming he has Mark if Mark thinks that they have the votes, but I'm guessing maybe Mark is willing to bail on him if they don't, which he probably knows that they don't, so he probably doesn't actually have that vote. And then Ross, of course, he does not have Ross's vote, even though he thinks he does. So he's like talking to himself, like, I know what I gotta do. I'm gonna make a Hail Mary pass, and I just need to get these 2 votes. You need to, lock down the 3 that you don't actually have first.
Well, and his plan, Taran, is really terrible. He was talking about going to Keisha and exposing her lies and basically calling her out in order to get her to rally for him, to go to bat for him. Like, I heard this come out of his mouth, and I'm like, you're stupid. Like, that doesn't even make sense. What are you talking about? You're going to make somebody feel terrible, and somehow that's going to make them cause them, number 1, to vote for you, number 2, to stick their own neck out to try to change the course of the game as it currently stands with you going home. Now, not going home, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, people have this misconception that like if I guilt trip them, then that'll get them on my side. Like, that rarely works in real life. It never works in Big Brother. It just makes people feel bad, and when people feel bad, they just want to get you away so they don't feel bad anymore. So this idea and he's been talking about, like, why do people shouldn't be able to be mad at me? This is just a game. They shouldn't be allowed to be mad at me. Why can't we just be friends? If I lose, then screw this game. It's too petty and drama filled anyway. All the trappings of a first boot.
Yes, all the trappings of a first boot. He was also talking about the fact that my favorite Twitter person, Stina Nitz on Twitter, said, or I think maybe it was Tina. It was somebody who was great, who said that James was talking about the fact that all of them are great people and they're going to be friends after. Again, bless his heart.
Well, that's the thing. There's been a lot of talk about, like, wow, we are so peaceful. We are so friendly. It's going to be great. Like, we're making connections. This is going to be great for our careers. And it's not just James that's talking about this. I think it's just something that we kind of have to put up with, given that, I think most of these people came on for their careers.
Yeah, James thinks... Yeah, he thinks he's going to make more money being evicted early. I'm like, well, how? I have no idea.
I think in James's mind, like, this is all over the news. And to be fair, Omarosa is all over the news at the very least. But I think in his mind, the show is all over the news. And everyone's going to be like, James was out first. And like, I don't think it's what he thinks it is.
And it's even worse for him, too, because it's not like he's going to have an entire week where he's the boot and he gets to do exit interviews. I mean, this thing is going to move so fast that, before you know it, he's out of the house and somebody else is coming out right behind him. So he needs to, what he needs to do? He needs to take his shirt off more, honestly. Something needs to happen, and he needs to prey on, honestly, if we were going to go to, the drawing board and come up with a plan for him to stay, Taran, I feel like that his best shot is preying on Shannon's paranoia, that the girls are betraying her, that Marissa and Ross are not true to her, and that they will bail on her the first chance they get. He can say, look, I came in second in that competition. I can be a weapon for you. I don't care. I'll go to the end with strong people. I think you're awesome. Like, if he could, get her mind ticking, then he may have a shot. The problem I see is that she's really close to Omarosa, and I don't think Omarosa is going to let that happen.
I think he should just go. I mean, he's talking about doing this, but like, I think like even more than he recognizes, just like full Hail Mary, go full Mitch Moffat and like be a crazy person, talk with M&Ms and numbers and like just do something crazy and like try to make an impact at the very least, because I know like his goal is to accumulate more fame. So if the worst case scenario happens and it doesn't succeed, at least you've made an impact. At least you've made good television. So just go for it. It's a 3-week season.
Exactly, which he's not doing right now. That is at least, evident on some people, Brandi, Omarosa, making good television, okay? James, who are you? Like, we don't even know. He's totally invisible on the show, and he just sounds like an idiot sometimes. The worst part is he doesn't realize that he sounds like an idiot. Like, I know that I have certain weaknesses. I talk a lot. Sometimes I don't know when to shut up. Sometimes I can be a little politically incorrect, but at least I am aware of that about myself. James, on the other hand, it's totally oblivious to him.
Yes, I guess on the bright side, James will probably not have much opportunity to make any inappropriate jokes that he was worried about making. He may save himself there. So yes, James, he also tried to campaign to Marissa. She wasn't really having much of it. Ross talks to Shannon about his conversation with James, tells her everything. Marissa and Ross also talked, and they agreed, yeah, it's too late for James. He's donezo. So not looking great for James. But let's get to Brandi.
Let's get to the main attraction.
Yeah.
We've been burying the lead.
So Brandi, again, apparently was totally normal up until last night when they gave her lots and lots of alcohol. And it really made me wonder why they don't give people more alcohol in regular seasons.
Yes. It's not that. I mean, it's cheap. You just go down and get a couple of bottles of wine. I mean, I can buy it for $15.
Yeah. So she really went for it. She was all over the place. The main offense here was that she was talking to the guys and she basically spilled to them, oh yeah, Shannon told me that you guys wanted me, James and Chuck, you guys wanted me up on the block. But I still love you guys. Don't worry about it. Shannon told me this. And Shannon was like, what are you doing? Why are you telling them that? I told you that in confidence. You can't be spilling that stuff. And she's like, don't worry about it. They already hate you anyway. It's fine. And Shannon's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and she thinks that the reason that she'll go home in the second week is because of Brandi running her mouth, which I don't think is the reason that Shannon would go home. But it is hilarious because Brandi seems to have this inability to recognize the fact that they could actually lose power when I keep saying next week, but it's going to be the next HOH. They could actually lose power. She's like, oh, they have no chance. I'm like, you don't know, Big Brother. There could literally be a roulette ball that's spinning and you throw a ball into it and it lands in a number. That's how some of these HOH competitions can go. In fact, the house guests are speculating about the fact that maybe it's a luck-based HOH competition coming up. So she's a complete airhead. And I don't even know. I know that Ross is like, you know what? We need to keep Brandi. We need to keep her in the fold. I don't know if I could interact with somebody like that. I mean, I wouldn't put her up myself, but if somehow she was put up by other people, I sure as hell would take that opportunity to get her out of the house because, you want people in your alliance, but if somebody has to be useful in it, they're just doing things that bring attention to themselves and you and their allies. I feel like that's a really bad look.
Yeah, it was not a popular look for her in her own alliance. Omarosa was talking about like we need to calm her down, not only for the sake of our alliance, but just for her image. Like this is like she's a mother.
Please. Like that's the image that she wants. So she has books about drinking, for God's sake. So I don't think that that's the problem, Omarosa. The main problem is that she's spilling secrets about your alliance, and I thought it was hilarious that Omarosa is like, you know what, we really need to watch her alcohol intake the next time they give her alcohol. I'm like, good luck with that.
Well, see, like again, like people have given this image of Omarosa to me that like I think everything she does is calculated, and I'm just like, is this meant to help your image that you're trying to help her image? Like
Maybe.
you, yeah, I don't know.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yes, she at one point was grinding on top of Omarosa, and Omarosa gave a pretty funny face in response.
That's not all she grinded on, Taran.
Speaking of grinding, she took a big butternut squash and really went to town. Had an intimate moment with it.
An intimate moment. She tried to fornicate with the butternut squash, ladies and gentlemen. And the people who were there in the room with her at the time said, "Okay, we're out of here." So yeah, she's just so awkward. God bless her. She had so much alcohol. I really do think that all of this was. I don't think this was a put on. I think this is her having a great time. She hadn't had any alcohol in quite a few days. I think this is maybe the first time that they got alcohol, and she was going around saying, "You know what? I finally feel free. I finally feel like I can say what I want to say. I've been holding it in this whole time. I've been good. I've been good." At one point, she said 8 days. Then she changed it to 4 days. She was like, "You know what? I can just say what I feel right now." And I'm like, okay, let's hear it. So I'm hoping that there's more alcohol in the future for one Brandi Glanville.
Yes, not since Jess and Cody have I seen so many intimate moments on the feeds. So Stephanie in the chat says, "Poor squash. I threw mine away today." Yeah, you can find. I'm sure there's gifs abound of that moment. So, and the reaction of everyone in the room too. Like Ross was just immediately like, "Whoa, no."
Oh my God, I have to read this. Because this brings me back. I totally forgot about this. Doom Tribe says Brandi's butternut squash moment will go down in the BB anals, Brent. Which you remember when that happened when I mistakenly used anals instead of annals? Okay, cool. Yeah. Yes. Good times, Taran. Good times.
Freudian slips happen.
I know, right? So that was too good. Wow. I completely forgot about that.
Yes. So, and again, this highlights, they kept talking like, man, things have been so calm in this house. We've been so friendly. And then all of a sudden, it's been so dramatic.
Yeah,
they think it's reflecting poorly on them.
Yes.
You're like, do you not know what the Big Brother house is for? Like, it would reflect poorly on you if you were boring. So, we'll see what happens. And another thing, Brandi was also just like, why can't Metta just leave? Well, people do that all the time in the UK version. What's happening? Why are we keeping him here?
Right.
She really has this weird perception.
I'm kind of with her on that. I really don't want to see a bunch of days of, is he going to quit? Is he not going to quit? I guess, look, they got him. He's a great get for a cast. They're trying to make sure that they get something out of him. Having said that, he's not giving me much right now, so whatever.
And it's the paradox of or the catch-22 of like, when somebody wants to quit, they become really terrible TV, right? Like they don't want to be there, but they become a very valuable asset in the game. Why bother taking out Metta World Peace if he's not going to even try? So they just become this dead weight that the players want to keep and the producers are like trying to keep, but is contributing absolutely nothing to the show. So, not a great look.
Not a great look, but you know what? That's the bad news. The good news is that the rest of the cast, I really feel like, is bringing it. All of the stuff that I was excited about on night one of the episode of Big Brother, I am still excited about after watching this first night of feeds. The players are there to play, and there's already paranoia seeping in, even though you think all the girls are controlling everything. And Shannon, she's such, like I said before, she's such a super fan that she can't help but let her mind just wander about who could get me, who would this person put up if they got power, who do I need to be scared of, somebody's gonna jump first in our alliance, who's it gonna be? And I feel like Ross did some good work in trying to calm her down, but I do feel like that's only temporary.
Yes, I think it will be very, very fun to watch if a guy wins HOH. These women will scramble like cockroaches to the many corners of the Big Brother house, and it will be extremely entertaining. So that's what I'll hope for.
So we're looking for a Chuck or Mark HOH.
Basically,
I feel like Metta could be persuaded to do what the girls want. Maybe
I don't think will Metta. I guess he'll try in competition. He's still a sportsman.
That's one thing he's good at.
Yeah. But he definitely won't try the strategic stuff. I don't know, because sometimes people want to quit, then they get a taste of power, and it corrupts them,
That's
and
true. That's true.
they start actually.
I'm gonna root for a Mark HOH. That's what I'm rooting for.
I think he's the one that would be the most savvy with it, for sure. Of the three guys that aren't Ross. So that's I think that's all we've got for you. Unless you have anything else you want to bring up, Brent.
Nope, I think that's about it. Actually, it's so funny. The celebs are actually pretty good about going to bed on time. I think that reflects the fact that they're older and they actually like go to bed and instead of staying up all night. Because I'm sure if this is a regular cast, first night everybody would be up until the wee hours until the sun's coming up. But yeah, these people they actually go to bed, so good for them.
Yeah, they recognized that they had to be awake at a certain time, and they tried to get some sleep. Which sleep deprivation it's a big thing. You don't even realize you have it.
By the way, did you read the interview from the producers? They actually took out the camera in the bathroom stall, so there is no camera in the bathroom stall anymore because that was a big deal with a lot of these celebs. They said that they are being very good, but they also warned the celebs that if two people go in there and start chatting, that they're going to bring the camera back, so that that hopefully precludes them from wanting to do anything like that. And overall, I'm really psyched. This feels like a real season of Big Brother. It does not feel dumbed down. It does not feel watered down. And there's a few twists, but every season has some twists. So I feel like it's a regular season just in hyperdrive, which is what the producer said.
Yeah, which is perfect. Like a bite-sized Big Brother is perfect Big Brother for me. Like we'll as long as we still get the main event, the main course, I'll take as many little couple week seasons as we can, because this is fun. It's Big Brother.
Yeah, and it looks like evictions are going to be on Fridays and Mondays. That's what we're hearing. So James has basically 2 days to save himself, today and tomorrow. But usually nothing really happens on eviction day. So basically he's got today.
Yes, and Stephanie is asking no slop. Stormy's asking no have-nots. As far as I'm aware, no.
No have-nots right now. There's no have-not room. Just because the week moves so fast. I mean, by week I'm talking about HOHs. But they did say that they are going to bring slop. I'm sure somebody's going to get cursed with slop for a few days, and that's when I'm really interested to see who is there to play, because like somebody like Ross or Shannon gets cursed with slop. Yeah, no problem whatsoever. But somebody like Brandi, Omarosa, even like Ari, I feel like there's a chance that they could really have a rough time with that, especially like on day 2, day 3, day 4. Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with the occasional slop, but like we don't need have-nots. We don't need like competitions or we don't need to waste any time. This is an abbreviated season, so
Yep.
All right, so that is our update for today. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern to update you again on everything that's happening on the live feeds. Of course, we'll also be live tonight after the second episode airs of Celebrity Big Brother Celebrity, whatever it's called.
You're so annoyed by that. Ladies and gentlemen, he was bitching to me before we started the episode today. He's like, I'm so over these hashtags. Like, I try to use this hashtag, then I see another hashtag, and it's the only one that CBS recognizes, but then everyone else is using this one. So he's like, I just use them all. But that's what, Taran, that's why we got 280 characters. You should be fine.
Yeah, but then do you know how many extra keystrokes that is? And then also, like, BB Celeb, they're not all caps. It's CBBUS, at least it's all caps. But BB Celeb, then the celeb is an actual word. So I gotta like capital C, ELEB. Oh man. Get me out of here.
These are trying times for you, Taran.
It's very trying times. All right, so thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure you check out The Taran Show. I recently released an episode with Liana Boris. If you haven't been keeping up with it, I have had some great guests. I talked to Andy Herron. I talked to Matt Hoffman. Lots of fun people. So make sure you check that out on iTunes, The Taran Show. And of course, check out the RuPaul's Drag Race that Brent is currently covering.
Yes. Tonight is episode 3 of the All-Star season, All-Stars 3. They're actually doing a parody of the Bachelor. It's called The Bitchler, which I'm very excited to see. They're actually doing improv, which I think is going to be a total train wreck. And me and Mike Bloom and Liana are totally psyched about seeing it. So yeah, watch it.
All right, very fun. And I think there's some American Ninja Warrior stuff happening. Ninja versus Ninja will be happening soon, so keep an eye out for that stuff. And I think that's all we've got for you. So and of course, first one out is currently in production and airing. The new Survivor season is on its way, and we have been talking to, or Josh has been talking to the players beforehand, and I've been diligently editing all of the episodes. Very, very fun series, so make sure you check that out. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We will see you next time.